Hogwarts Legacy is already one of the best-selling games of 2023, but with it not even being released yet, what can we expect from its monetization? Hogwarts Legacy is a single-player RPG, and so far, we know that the core gameplay is going to be impacted by monetization in a few ways. First is that the Haunted Hogsmeade Shop quest and the Felix Felicis potion recipe are exclusive to PlayStation versions of the game, and completing the quest also unlocks the player's own in-game shop. This really sucks. Locking this content behind having a specific console means that anyone who doesn't own a PlayStation or doesn't want to buy the game on PlayStation is missing out on the definitive version of the game. This is just punishing people for simply not having the right console. Second is the Dark Arts Battle Arena, that's exclusive to buying the Deluxe Edition. This is an arena where you'll fight waves of enemies to progress. There'll be other combat arenas in the game, but what makes this one special is that you get instant access to all the unforgivable curses to use in the arena. This, along with some cosmetic items, are all locked behind the Dark Arts pack included in premium versions of the game. The only other monetized content relates to cosmetics that don't really directly impact the core gameplay, but for a full price single player game, it seems to me that they've ripped out a decent chunk of gameplay content to use as bonuses. Hogwarts Legacy is however supposed to be a large game, so let's hope that the exclusive content doesn't have a big impact on people's enjoyment. As for pricing, we're looking at a standard edition for $60 on last gen and $70 on the current gen, with the deluxe edition for $10 more than each of these standard editions. There's also a collector's edition for $300 that includes the deluxe edition and some collectible items along with an exclusive in-game robe. I've made a summary that's on screen now so you can see all the additions and the bonus content. Pricing for this game seems to be pretty in line with most AAA releases nowadays. As for the collector's edition, in terms of in-game impact, you're going to be paying a few $100s extra for a cosmetic robe that, in my opinion, isn't worth it at all. As for the deluxe edition, you're going to be getting some cosmetics, the Dark Arts Battle Arena we talked about before, and 72-hour early access to the game. We'll need to know more about how the Battle Arena impacts the game to know if it's going to be worth the extra $10, but based on the information we have as of right now, it seems that unless you really want that 72-hour early access, the Battle Arena on its own isn't going to be worth the full $10, especially with the other arenas available in-game. The decision as to whether or not to buy the Deluxe Edition is made even easier here, because if you buy the Standard Edition of the game, you can choose to buy the Dark Arts pack that includes the Battle Arena separately after launch. There are a lot of little tactics that Hogwarts Legacy is using to try to get a few extra dollars out of players. First is something that we've been talking about this whole video, and that's the amount of content they've pulled out of the game to use as bonuses for pre-orders, different editions, and exclusive deals. In total, they've pulled out a quest, a potion, a battle arena, and countless cosmetics to use for these bonuses. A really clear example of this is that the Thestrals that you'll see walking around the world in the base game are only able to be used as mounts if you buy the deluxe edition of the game. Here, they're just removing content that was in the base game for the sole purpose of being able to squeeze more money out of people. Hogwarts Legacy has both cosmetic and gameplay related pre-order bonuses. Pre-order bonuses suck in general, especially when they impact gameplay, because they push players to take a risk and buy a full price game before any reviews are released because of the fear of missing out on the pre-order bonuses. And so many players may end up paying full price to get a broken game or one much worse than actually advertised. People who buy the deluxe edition of the game get 72-hour early access. This is a single player game and there's no limit on how many people can buy the deluxe edition. So if we think about it in another way, it essentially means that if you don't buy the deluxe edition, you have to wait 3 extra days to play. There isn't really any early access here. It's a completely fabricated waiting period to try and upsell people to the deluxe edition of the game. Another issue related to all the different bonuses is that there's been incredible confusion around the different versions of the game. This has led to the community needing to make different charts to be able to determine what comes with each version, and has led to misinformation being spread, resulting in some players purchasing the wrong version of the game. I will however praise the game in that they've said there'll be no microtransactions. I would however take this with a grain of salt, as we've seen countless examples of games companies make promises and then do a complete 180. But for now, this is great news. In terms of tactics, it seems to me like Hogwarts Legacy is using almost every monetization tactic a single player game can use without getting enormous backlash from the community. Overall, honestly, Hogwarts Legacy looks like it's going to be a great game, but it's frustrating to have to deal with all the exclusive content, different versions, and tactics they're using to try to make an extra buck. I'm hopeful, however, that even with all the frustration and the content they've pulled, this can still be great. I do, however, want to caution you against pre-ordering. Remember that when you pre-order anything, you're taking a risk. I'm not saying don't pre-order, but be aware that you're gambling on if the game's going to live up to expectations and you may get burned. So like with most games releases nowadays, unless you're really itching to get those pre-order bonuses, it's safest to wait until the game launches and reviews come out to decide on whether or not you're going to spend your hard-earned money. Thanks for watching. If you want to see an example of a company that definitely got too greedy, check out the video on screen right now.